All right, Madam Mayor, we are live streaming for March 15th virtual council meeting.
Thank you, Mr. White. This regular city council meeting of the Oak Park City Council, March 15th, 2021 is called to order at 7 o'clock on the nose. City Clerk Ed Norris, would you call the roll?
Mayor McClellan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Radner.
He will be late.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Next, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. That's Burns. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Whitehead. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda. These are routine items presented without discussion. Any member can ask to have one removed and considered separately. Regular city council meeting minutes of March 1st. Special city council meetings of the same date. Resolution approving an on-premises tasting room permit to River Rouge Brewing Company, LLC, located at 14401 West 11 Mile Road. Can't wait for that one. D, request to approve an agreement with Berkeley School District to collect their 2021 summer tax levy. This is a regular recurring item. E, request to declare specific vehicles as surplus and sold by sealed bid, public auction, or disposal at the lowest expense to the city in accordance with city policy. And I noticed some of these vehicles are from 2006. So it's amazing the staff has kept them lumbering along this long. F, request to approve an agreement with the Road Commission of Oakland County for street sweeping, litter picking, and lawn mowing services on Greenfield Road from 8 to 10 Mile Road and on 10 Mile Road from Greenfield to Maplefield. This is another yearly agreement that we sign. G, request to advertise for bids for the CIA streetscape enhancements and the 9 Mile linear and connector park project. Can't wait for this one. H, licenses new and renewals submitted for March 15th, 2021. We need motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Mayor,
Thank
Mayor,
you.
just one point.
Yep.
Ask about the G, advertising for bids for the corridor improvement. Is that what it is? The Corridor Improvement Authority streetscape enhancements?
Right, right.
I know I looked at what we're bidding out, and I'm just wondering if we should also include additional items, for example, posts with waste bags for dog waste disposal. I think it would be a great idea to put a few of those along that path.
Right. And I'm City Manager Tungate. How would we add those on, or is that a separate item?
I think that's something, Madam Mayor, Councilmember Edgar, we'd have to come back with. This is a package that I believe the CIA board has voted on, if I'm not mistaken. Director Maroney, can you weigh in?
Yes, City Manager Tungate. So this is something that we are working together with the 9 Mile linear park and connector park to bid out all of the products that we intend to purchase, not only through the Corridor Improvement Authority for 11 Mile and Coolidge, but also for the 9 Mile connector park and linear park. We wanted to make sure we got the best prices for the city. We did not anticipate doing any dog waste receptacles. I can bring it back to the committee, Lori Stasiak and Crystal Van Vleck, to see if that's something they would like to add. And we can come back to the city council if that's something that you wish us to do. It is.
So do you want this approved as is and then add on the new request?
I'm sorry, Mayor, what was that?
Want this approved as is and then come back at the next meeting with additional, these other items?
Yeah, I think Assistant City Manager Kevin, you wanted to weigh in a little bit?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council. We purchased those. We've placed them around different parks before, and we purchased those through Amazon through a great price. I don't think they need to be part of that. These amenities are definitely higher priced and higher quality items for this area. And I don't think we need to have a sealed bid purchase for the waste receptacles and bag disposal.
Got it. Good to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited about all this stuff happening. I can't stand it. So we will have that taken care of, Councilmember Edgar. So we can, let me think, did we ever get a motion and a second? No, okay. Motion and a second for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, that's Burns, and the second?
Second.
Thank you, Edgar. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. I have to tell you, when I started in 2011, there was no good news happening. It was, the bills were higher than we thought, the revenue was lower than we thought. It was some bad news. And to see these kinds of things on our agenda, it's just joy. I can't tell you. So, Deputy Director Lisa Vecchio, do we have any visiting elected officials here tonight? Do we have anyone from Oakland County, perhaps?
Good evening, everyone. At the moment, I am not seeing any visiting.
I see Charlie Cavell. I don't know if he would like to report out. And I know that,
Here's Charlie.
hi.
Hi.
Charlie, we're at the it's not Charlie, it's Commissioner Cavell.
Thanks. Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Council and everyone. Yeah, just wanted to give a quick update about COVID and make sure that if there's anything I can be helpful to, I'd love to make myself and our team available. So to give you a quick overview of where we've been and where we are with COVID, and then talk about a couple of new things that have come up in the last week, some important dates, and then give a little insight into, and also really a big hand and way to go to Oak Park. So those three things. So where we've been, Michigan has received 3.7 million doses of COVID vaccine. Some of those are one shot, some of those are two shot. Oakland County has received 405,000 doses of vaccine. Again, some of those are one shot, some of those are two shot. Oakland County government, because now there's two systems, right? There's the health system with the 5 hospitals and Rite Aid and all that sort of stuff. And then there's OakGov. So OakGov has received 130,685 vaccines. And as of last week, our weekly total for the previous week was 17,000 doses. And mind you, this 17,000 doses started as 1,950 doses back in December. So we're seeing this wave starting to crest. So we're getting close. And when I say getting close, when we're talking about 65 and up population in Oakland County, 61% have had at least their first shot. And herd immunity, we say, comes at about 70%. So that is a good sign. Second, for the 75 and up crowd in Oakland County as a whole, 62% of Oakland County residents 75 and up have had their first shot. All told, Oakland County residents, all 1.2 million of us, 14% of us have gotten at least one shot of the vaccine. Now, some important dates coming up. March 8th, which happened last week, 50 and up. If you have a health concern or a disability, you're eligible to get vaccinated in Michigan. March 22nd, which is coming up. If you're 16 and up with a health concern or a disability, whether it's intellectual or physical, you will be able to sign up to get on the list if you're 16 and up. April 5th, everyone 16 and up is eligible to sign up to get the vaccine. Now, just to make sure, when you sign up, it doesn't mean you will get a vaccine immediately. but it does mean that you'll be able to register and that you'll be in line. And so thinking about Oakland County, what I just said, we received 17,000 doses last week. There will be 1 million new.
Commissioner, just to jump in there just for a bit, people were so grateful for getting an email saying, we understand, that you're still in line and we're still going to get to you. Don't worry. We haven't forgotten about you. It was just the communication was such a relief to them. Please pass that on.
Will do, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Yes. And so, and as the mayor said, we're kind of getting better at communicating, or at least being more cognizant of it. And this brings me to the giving the plaudits to the city of Oak Park and its tremendous leadership, just because what you all have been able to do by setting up that deal with Henry Ford is really it's genius. It's incredible. It's fantastic. It's also helping keep in line with when I mentioned the 61% of 65 and up residents in Oakland County that have been vaccinated. That tends to skew one way or another, racially, socially, and economically speaking. And that's not right. And what you're doing here in Oak Park is helping balance that unbalanced and inequitable divide that we've seen. So, way to go, you guys. And if you have any questions or would like to know more about COVID or the fact that the county does $1 billion worth of other things with your tax dollars every year, please feel free to call me at 248-807-4347. And also happy to give out any information or send to the clerk all the 800-848-5533, which is the nurse on call and the Save Your Spot number. And there's also websites you can go to as well. And if there's nothing else, just rock on Oak Park. You're a model that we're all looking towards.
Oh, thank you for the kind words. I was knocking doors yesterday, came across an older gentleman who was sure that the vaccine was going to harm him somehow, that they're hiding that it's killing people. And I said, I got it. My husband got it. Our staff got it. Our director of public safety got it. You have more to worry about way more to worry about from COVID and what it can do to you than from the little things the shot's going to do. So by order of the mayor, please get your shot. So
nice.
And I was passing out, there are more people than I think I realized that can't go online. So I've been passing out a sheet with the nurse on call number. Charlie, would you repeat that again?
Yeah, it's 800-848-5533.
So if you're not online, call nurse on call. And that means that instead of getting maybe an email and a phone call, you'll get a phone call when your turn comes up. And they're very good about getting to you. So if you're in line, you will get some service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item. Special recognition and presentations. I'm very delighted to welcome Dr. Jamie Hitchcock, our wonderful superintendent of Oak Park Schools, who is going to talk about the bond proposal May 4th, which is not going to raise your taxes. Superintendent Hitchcock, are you available?
I am. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I want to thank all of you.
Go a tiny bit louder.
Tiny bit louder? Okay. I would like to thank all of you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Manager Tungate, and members of City Council, as well as the community. Thank you for having us this evening. And I would also like to introduce Steve Barr. He is our Chief Financial and Operations Officer. He will present with me this evening. We are so pleased to have the opportunity to join all of the amazing things that are happening in Oak Park, in the city of Oak Park. And we hope to complement that as a school district. So we have some information to share this evening with the community, and I am going to pull up my presentation And I'm hoping that the screen is available to share.
Director Vecchio, is that available?
I believe, did we have, I think that we have the presentation and we can share that. Hold on just a moment.
You know, why don't we do this? One of the many partnerships that we have already engaged in is the partnership with the city and your wonderful staff, who has been working with us to put together an outstanding video that captures a little bit of information about our bond. So maybe we can watch the video while we are queuing up the presentation. I especially want to thank Jocelyn Davis, Benny White, and Eric Freeman for all of their support in putting this video together. They did an amazing job with a very, very quick turnaround. So it just speaks to how professional and how supportive you all are at the city of the school district. And we really appreciate that.
Okay, I'll queue up.
Yep. And while we're waiting, in 2011, I was the photographer for the city. I went to an event and took pictures and that was it. There was no videographer. We have come a long way, baby.
Well, you have some great people on your staff. So you're very fortunate.
Amazing staff.
All right.
Mhm.
Hi, I am Dr. Jamie Hitchcock, and I am the superintendent of Oak Park Schools. I am so happy to partner with our community on a brand new venture of a 2021 bond proposal. For more information, please access our website. Hi, my name is Dr. Jamie Hitchcock, and I'm the superintendent of Oak Park Schools. On May 4th, there will be an election for a bond to support the Oak Park School District. This bond will support all of the critical needs and infrastructure needs of our school district, including how to keep our buildings warm, safe, and dry to promote the most optimal learning environments for both students, staff, families, and our community. We are looking at improving our electrical, infrastructure, mechanical, plumbing, and technology needs.
When you're talking about Oak Park schools support their kids. There's a lot of programs that Oak Park provide to their kids.
The school district really became a support system to support some of those transitions and to support some of the integration and conversations that were happening in our community. And I'm very proud of that legacy that Oak Park has in building that community. And it continues today with so many partnerships that we have. We have partnerships with the city and with Gleaners and with United Way that have allowed us over the last year to distribute food to so many families, to provide other forms of support, vaccines and testing. We've partnered with Kids Kicking Cancer on the Child Resilience Initiative, which started right here in Pepper School as the first pilot program by providing busing and special needs services and Title I services to students who are going to school outside of our public school community. It really speaks to how the school district is a place of connection for all the different parts of our wonderful community in Oak Park. And what's wonderful about Oak Park is that we bring together all that diversity, that we use this, that the school district is able to be a connection point where we all grow together. It's not just a transactional relationship where our property values are impacted by the school district or where we pay taxes so that we can send our children to school. But the partnership is much deeper than that, in that we recognize that the success of the school district is the success of the community, and the success of the community is the success of the school district.
I want to thank the City of Oak Park, the Oak Park community, and remember, strong schools promote strong communities. This is about our students, our community, and our future. Please partner with us. So thank you so much for your partnership. I sent Benny the presentation, but if we don't have time for that this evening, I can just kind of talk through some of our main talking points about why this bond proposal is so important to our students, staff, and community. Oh, of course, in true Benny fashion, he's ready to go. So thank you for pulling this up. So first of all, we want to reiterate that our bond proposal is a way to support not only our students and staff, but our whole community, and really is about impacting our future, the future of the City of Oak Park, including our school district, in a very positive way. And of course, the election for the bond proposal is on May 4th, 2021. And there will be a zero tax rate increase to the community, which is so important for us to emphasize. And our bond proposal really is structured around critical health and safety upgrades for our buildings in the school district. You can skip to the next slide. So the emphasis really is on warm, safe, dry, ensuring that our students have a healthy and safe learning environment. It provides an optimal infrastructure for both students and our staff. Facility upgrades include critical facility renovations like HVAC, windows, doors, roofs, and plumbing. In technology, we all know that technology is changing so rapidly. And where we are right now in the pandemic is we are so reliant on technology. And in order to stay innovative and ahead of the curve, we have to consistently upgrade our technology because it plays a critical role in our district environment. In cost savings, allowing this bond to go before our community members provides an opportunity for us to preserve general fund dollars. So we are steering any impact away from critical needs of our students and staff at the classroom level. Next slide. I'm going to turn this over to Steve Barr. He'll talk to you a little bit about how exactly our bond program will look over a series of a few years.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor McClellan, members of City Council, City Manager Tungate, and City Administration. Mayor, there's two things that you said in the past few minutes that really resonated with me. Number one is you've got a 15-year-old vehicle that you're sending out to auction. We have many assets that are 15 years, 25 years, 55 years, that this bond is, the goal is to restore them, upgrade them. Second thing you said, one other thing you said was, well, we have good news on the agenda under your consent. This is great news too. So, because you know what's good for the schools is good for the city. So in the $54+ million to be spent if it's approved by the community, about a third of it is on mechanical and plumbing. That is shown basically, as Dr. Hitchcock said, replacing outdated equipment, unit ventilators in classrooms and throughout the schools, updating plumbing and updating fire safety systems. About a third is on electrical, dealing with upgrading electrical distribution systems that again are probably close to 50 years old. and replacing lighting throughout much of the school with LED type lighting. Infrastructure, about 18%, dealing with, as needed, replacing roofing, ceilings, flooring, walls, doors, and windows. And then the remaining balance is for classroom instructional technologies that obviously is primarily for students and obviously instructional staff also. If you go to the next slide, please. And I'm just going to do one of these. All three of these, elementary, middle school, and high school, are virtually the same because our schools are aged to the fact that they all need similar upgrades. Like I said, HVAC improvements, lighting, air quality, devices, things shown on the right are really the same K-12 for our, actually pre-K-12 for our district. So you can actually skip by the next two. And I'll just emphasize what Dr. Hitchcock said, which is this is a zero rate increase compared to the 2020 levy. And we hope the community reviews all the data that is on and the facts that are on our webpage at oakparkschools.org/bond and addresses and send us any questions they have to 2021 bond at oakparkschools.org. And that is on the last slide. If you go to slide number, there you go. That's how you can contact us. So if anyone has any questions, we'd be more than happy to address them. Thank you.
Before we entertain any questions, can I just mention to the community how they can help or how you all can help us get the word out? We have a variety of ways that we are sharing this information. Of course, we have our Steven Spielberg quality video that the City of Oak Park partnered with us on. We have our school website that Steve Barr mentioned, which is oakparkschools.org/bond. All of our information is there. We have an absentee ballot letter that was sent out to all homes in the community on Friday and should soon be reaching your doorstep if it has not already done so. We will also put up signs and lawn signs and other signs in the community, and we're hoping to do that inside of businesses in the community to help inform the community of why this is so important. Additionally, a lot of information is shared by just talking to neighbors in the community across the fence post about why this bond is so important. Our bond really is about critical needs, and we understand that these are tough times for some of our families. And so it's important to emphasize that this is a zero tax rate increase. Also, please like our posts on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We are posting consistently about information about the bond and plan to continue to do that. And if you can do nothing else, if you could just repost or retweet, we would really appreciate that as well. And then once we have our signs in and available to folks, if you want to put a sign in your yard, we would love to have you do that. And if you're aware of any community events, we would be so happy to be invited to a neighborhood block club or other events that you may have or be aware of throughout the community to share more information.
Dr. Hitchcock, I am officially requesting a sign.
Okay, wonderful. We can make that happen for you. Thank you.
I bet the other council members also would be delighted.
Okay.
Carolyn Burns.
We'll make sure that that happens. We are really excited to upgrade our facilities to reach the curb appeal of our neighbors across the street from the high school. And we just believe that this will really be a great opportunity for the students and staff and our community. So any questions about anything that we've discussed this evening?
No, I think we are blessed to have you and your team on board in Oak Park. Things are looking up.
Well, thank you so much. And just to piggyback on what you said about the vaccine, I have gotten both of my vaccines and I feel great. So I would encourage everyone to do the same. So thank you again for your partnership and for having us this evening. If you think of any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and we'll be certain to follow up with those yard signs to you, Madam Mayor, as well as the members of City Council. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I would probably recommend, well, with the next presentation we have is a sidewalk presentation. Anybody who's getting their sidewalk redone, it's been 17 years since that sidewalk was redone before, so you might not even been in Oak Park at that time. And it's an investment, I know, because I had 5 squares replaced in front of mine. And it's hard times, but our Director of Technical and Planning, Robert Barrett, is going to do a presentation to explain, among other things, that we already put this project off a year because of COVID. So last summer, there was no sidewalk project. Director Barrett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think City Manager Tungate would like to set this up for a moment, if you would, please.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Director Barrett. Yes, so there's a couple of things, council members, that I wanted to put out there before we get into the guts of the presentation. One is, as the mayor just said, it's important to remember that we did delay the program 1 year already back in 2020 out of respect for the pandemic. I'm also going to make a recommendation for a couple of other things here later on, council members. And one of those things is going to be that we ask our city attorney, Ebony Duff, to research a way to amend the city charter, which requires us to bill, to submit these bills 15 days out. That is a city charter requirement that right now we can't change. And if it's what I think it is in terms of it being in the charter, then of course that would take a vote of the people. And if council so wishes, when would we do that? The second thing is, I also think that council should authorize a full year for all of our folks getting a sidewalk bill to pay in the loan program that we offer at 0%. Right now, that's a tiered rationale, but I'd like to make that recommendation at the end of the presentation that we bill everybody for a full year at 0% interest. And that's all out of respect for the continuing pandemic. And of course, I'd be open to suggestions or ideas. Director Barrett, if you could do the presentation, and then maybe we can get into a discussion after you're done.
Thank you so much, City Manager Tungate. Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's been a while since I've done a presentation. We have a few city council members here, so I'm going to talk about some of the why, where, what, and criteria of the sidewalk program. And once I get started on this program, if you can't just, I got a lot of information to cover. If we can hold off any questions until the end, because I'll probably hit this eventually. And at the last slide presentation, I'll field all questions at that time. So Crystal's going to assist me in bringing up my PowerPoint presentation. So this slide is a little self-explanatory here. We have a sidewalk program to maintain safe sidewalks. The program helps keep the city pedestrian friendly, walkable, complies with our complete street program master plan, and is also compliant with ADA requirements. Running a sidewalk program is following best practices, which is the next point is the sidewalk program reduces lawsuits and liabilities for both the property owners. But back to the main point is we want to have safe sidewalks and maintain pedestrian friendly, walkable city. Like 2. You can see from the map here, we started the program in the 1990s, 1994, the current program. And then it went through a series of 10 years that we completed the whole city. Upon reevaluation of that, we decided to canvass the city again every other year, which puts us on a 17 to a 20-year schedule for sidewalk programs revisiting areas. And if you could see in the area where we're at, south of 10 and east of Scotia. The last time we were here is in 2000. So, you know, this is a 20-year investment that's going to happen again. Also, this sidewalk program, there's some areas outside the sidewalk program, but if we get any type of reports on a trip and fall hazard, we'll put it on our miscellaneous city concrete replacement program, and we'll address those. We have a responsibility to react to complaints about trip hazards and faulty sidewalk. But most importantly, to reiterate what Mayor McClellan said and City Manager Tungate said, if you see the map right now, this is a program that was scheduled for 2020. And because we were in the middle of a pandemic, we postponed this till the spring of 2021. And it was a decision by City Council to try to provide a little bit of relief. Slide 3. So you can see the 8 different criteria listed here. And most of those are pretty easy to determine. You know, everybody understands 3/4 inch vertical separation between a couple flags, or the cracks in the flags and some excessive spalling. But what gets difficult to the common resident is when you start talking about ADA requirements, cross slopes, longitudinal slopes, and so forth. And so I'm going to dedicate the next couple slides to help explain what we're talking about with this information here. Next slide. You can see here, this is talking specifically about ADA requirements. And you're talking about 2% maximum cross slope, which is a sideways slope from the property line and to the street. Has a maximum of 2%, and it should continue one way. And you'll see in slides further ahead that, you know, the slope reflects the other way, and that issues some problems with some people with ADA or some type of disabilities. And then a 5% maximum longitudinal slope and a 5-foot minimum width. You see in the bottom left corner, sometimes to reach that longitudinal slope, the curb is built up on the corner of the property line there, just so we can flatten everything out and raise the sidewalk more gradual. And with that slide, I'd like to note out the key flag or the middle flag and the 2 flags going out to the street is the cost of those flags are borne by the city, and the flags that are adjacent to the property owner is borne by the property owner. Next slide, please. So I want to talk about disabilities here. It's like a lot of times I hear some complaints, and I really take the time to meet with all the residents, and I hear that, well, you know, there's nobody on my street that has any disabilities. And, you know, I think that's not what they really mean, or trying to be ignorant about the situation. But a lot of times you don't know who has a disability or what a hard time they're trying to do to converse walking through the sidewalks here. And as I mentioned in the first slide, is we want to have walkable sidewalks for everyone. And once that slope increases beyond 2%, they have science behind it and federal law that the sidewalk is not meeting federal guidelines for Americans with Disabilities Act. Next slide, please. So we could talk about mud jacking, and I think our sidewalk program competes extremely well with mud jacking. At the time they pay for the cost of one slab to replace, you're paying about the same cost as mud jacking. But if you can look at this picture right here, either when you're trying to maintain a cross slope, either you lift one side up of a sidewalk flag, which reverses it the wrong way, or you lift up the other side. Either way, trying to repair these items with mud jacking or grinding down still does not give us an opportunity to comply with ADA requirements. So that's a reason why we don't have a mud jacking or grinding program. Additionally, the mud jacking is destructive. They drill a hole in the concrete to lift it up, and there's no guarantee it won't crack again because they put some grout underneath there. And it might be worth pointing out right now is that we hold our contractor to a 1-year maintenance and guarantee bond. And we put that into the contract because that is the most cost-effective guarantee you can have. We can have the contractor guarantee them for 5 or 20 years, but again, as a management team here in City of Oak Park, we need to watch out for the taxpayers' money and the cost of the sidewalk program. That would really jack up the cost.
Wonder if you
Next
would
slide.
mention the grinding down procedure as well.
Right. So if you grind down the piece of sidewalk where you see the trip hazard in the photo right there, you still have conflicting cross slopes, which is very difficult for somebody with a disability to maneuver. Next slide, please. Crystal. Thank you, Crystal. And here's a couple of illustrations of what most of us don't face when we're trying to navigate sidewalks is the running slope. And that's where you're trying to get up them handicap ramps where you have to flatten it out. This is way more difficult than any of us expect. And again, Oak Park's going to comply with ADA requirements, and we have sympathy for people with disabilities, and we want our community to be walkable for everybody. Next slide.
If I could interrupt right there, a lot of the people in the community are getting older, and it's hard to get around with cane or a walker or something like that. Officially disabled, but it's difficult and it's dangerous to fall. So we're protecting our seniors as well.
I agree 100%. And it is, you might not know it, but people lose their sense of balance and a whole lot of other issues. And I guess that's why our great legislators in Washington created the Americans with Disability Act. Thank you. Next slide. So here's the timeline. We put this out to bid in February 8th. We awarded it on March 2nd. This is Giorgio is our sidewalk contractor. If we worked with them before, they're a very reputable company. This week, we mailed out sidewalk cards for our newly elected officials. What this will do, and for us in the office, it generates a lot of questions, and it's new to most residents. And no question's not a bad question. So please call us. We're setting up re-inspections from March 8th to April 15th. I'm sorry, April 5th. And myself or my deputy director, Dan Fearless, will come out with a set of dedicated time to explain to you what the sidewalk inspection card to your right means, what's going on with your sidewalk, answer questions about billing or the program or what they can do. And we'll give them as much, we'll give them our 10 or 15 minute appointment time and just to answer any questions. This morning, our phones were ringing and we have over 30 re-inspections or personal inspections already scheduled, and I have 7 of them for tomorrow. Project's going to start on April 5th, and it's expected to be completed by June 4th. So shortly after the project is completed, we'll send the information over to finance, and finance will send the bills out. And as City Manager Tungate stated, the initial bill we're going to work on, and we expect it to have a 12-month due date. So you're going to get your bill in June of 2021. The full balance, what our expectations are, is it will not be due until 2022. And I know we're going to work hard with our city attorney, our city manager, and present something to our city council to make us legally be able to do that. We understand what people are going through, but we still need to do a program. So if we can make the hardship any less, that's what we're going to do. Next slide, please. So here is the current sidewalk financing flyer that was mailed out to everybody, and I've actually updated it for this slide. Is I don't think it says 12 months from the date of the invoice due, but this is what we're proposing for item 1. Item 2 and 3 right there for cost for 1,000 and 2,000, it's going to be a 2-year financing at 6%, and over 2,000 be 3-year at 6%. And can I tell the residents that are new to this is that I've been running a sidewalk program for over 20 years. And when I'm done meeting with everybody, they really have a good understanding what's going on, but it comes down to the financial hardship. They're not ready to pay for this at that moment. And we put some thought into it, and we worked with city council and our city manager and our finance. And during the 18 or 17 sidewalk program, we laid out these finance options, which are new to everybody in the city of Oak Park. I need to comment on some of these things on the finance options here is that we're talking about, I want to talk about the cost while we're on this slide a little bit, is that some property owners believe the city's making money off the sidewalk program. You can see that in some Facebook comments. It's not true.
True.
We are not making any money on this, and it is a just a false presumption. Many Oakland County and Southeast Michigan communities do. They have a markup on their administrative costs, and every year we're sitting down at budget time and we're facing tight times, and we talk about this. But our city council mentions and is determined at the moment, and I think for hopefully in the future, because I'm proud to say there's no markup on this. We are giving you the straight costs of what we pay our contractors to perform this work.
Without paying for the first inspection and the second inspection and
all of our costs, all of our time for billing, all of our costs for 1 year financing is being carried by the city. I seen a comment on Facebook recently, and I hate to refer to that because there's a lot of bad information out there, but one resident was commenting that our cost is there's a markup because if you take advantage of the optional financing for 1,000 to 2,000 or 2,000, there is a 6% interest cost. But I think they're mistaking that we are not putting any markup on the cost of construction, and this is exactly what we're paying the contractor. And I might have spent some time on this because I'm proud of that item, and I just want to make it perfectly clear that this is what it is. You're paying exactly what we're paying them.
Okay, Madam Mayor, Director Barrett, let me dive back into one of my recommendations. Do you see a problem if for those between 1,000 and 2,000, and for those invoices over 2,000, do you see a problem if we provide the 0% interest for them as well? Director Barrett?
Yes.
You're
asking me?
Yes.
City Council.
I'm asking you.
Well, I think those are
Yeah,
3 or 4 years ago when we were first presented with these financial options. I was ecstatic because, I felt very sympathetic with residents meeting with them in this hardship. And I thought it was great that we offered some type of financing. But obviously, I think this is going to be okay. But, the times are different than they were a couple of years ago.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I'm going to make that recommendation to you. And I don't know, Madam City Attorney, if that's something they can vote on tonight, but I'm going to make that recommendation. And obviously the other things we'll have to bring back to them.
I like to wait on it and give me an opportunity to look into it. It's just a couple of issues. Again, when you're talking about financing, which is essentially a loan of credit by the city, I know there are certain restrictions and parameters, and I like an opportunity to look into that before we have council vote on it.
So we'll bring that back as a package at the next meeting, council members.
Oh, okay. That sounds fine. To me, this is a city with a heart. And you can see that from the city manager, Eric Tungate, and from the Director Barrett, and from everyone that I've dealt with, we care about you. Here's a question on chat. Why is the city maintenance cost separate from our taxes? Why isn't it covered by our taxes? I know that some cities divide up the cost and everybody pays all of the 20 years.
Right.
So it looks like
Exactly.
it's not part of your taxes, but it is. Director Barrett, do you want to speak to that question? Why is it separate from our city taxes?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to explain that our city charter was written by the founding fathers of Oak Park many years ago. Okay, and we were a fledgling city with subdivisions coming in, and when they came in, we had developers putting in subdivisions and so forth and all this. And based on funding, and it's very typical of Southeast Michigan, there are a few exceptions where they do pay for it in the taxes, but it was written into our charter that if you're going to buy this house or develop a house or have a subdivision in this, the resident will have to pay for the sidewalk or maintain the sidewalk. Just as similarly, that is the sidewalk needs to be shoveled by a resident, and the grass between the sidewalk and the curb needs to be cut by a resident. These are expenses when developers came in that our charter was written that this is how it's going to be handled.
There's another question on chat. Why such a short period of time to get the work completed? Professionals are behind with setting appointments. I think we're recommending that you don't have somebody else do it. City, can you tell us about the woman whose husband was a concrete a vendor and couldn't meet the price that the city was charging?
Yes, Madam Mayor, is by our city ordinance and our charter, we are required to give the residents 5 days notification to fix their sidewalk, or else we'll do it. We get ahead of the curve. We're exceeding the minimum and giving them till the April date. And with that, that's just an opportunity to do the work yourself. We are competitively bidding this project on a $500,000 project. And when and if you get a contractor or do it yourself or whatever happens, more than likely, the workmanship is not going to be there, and the ability to meet our criteria and the ADA requirements most likely might not be met. And I think the mayor wants to share a story with one of our residents had their own concrete company and paving company, and I met with them on site, and all he wanted to know is how can you do this? It was back in the day for $2.80 a square foot, and I explained to him our quantity of scale, and he appreciated it and said, I can't do it, and have at it. And I might also note is there's 3 or 4 houses many years ago that had a fly-by-night guy that could do it cheaper, and the engineering term is pour it wet and let it set. He did a really bad job, didn't finish it, and the sidewalks rejected, and the homeowners paid them upfront and paid us additionally when we rejected the sidewalk and replaced it also.
You are clearly better off going with the city. It's a better price, it's better quality. I think if you have driveway issues, you can request it, and it depends on if they have time between this job and the next job.
Yeah, to the mayor's point is the contractor is not obligated to replace any driveways, but our lead inspector on the project will be taking a list of information down of contacts, and we'll share it with the contractor, but we don't know if they're going to have the time or want to do that. And it'll be just simply us being the middleman of sharing your information with them if they want to have their driveway done.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes, please. City
Thank-
Council Member Whitehead.
Director Barrett, I know it's probably hard to target this down, but do we know what the average invoice is per household possibly? Like where do they fill in on that 3-rank scale of under 1,000 in between?
I would say the average, this is a long shot, and I'm really not prepared to answer that right now, but I would say the average bill is under 1,000. But I'm sure there's quite a few exceptions. So when I say the average bill is under 1,000, there's going to be a lot of people that are saying, well, what about mine? But that would be my best guess.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I wanted to ask Director Barrett a question about this.
Yes,
So Director Barrett,
Councilmember Edgar.
Director Barrett, you said that you're bidding out, it's a $500,000 job. Now that you're referring to just the section that it is next on the list for repairs, correct?
Correct.
Is that about average?
The prices came in as expected, and it's a very volatile construction market right now. And so some of our estimates are getting blown out of the water, but this is what we expected for the cost of concrete. And we were pleased that it did come in at the prices they did. So we were satisfied with those bid numbers.
And are the prices on those slabs generally the same over time? Because since we're on a 17-year cycle, I imagine that 17 years ago it was cheaper, right, to replace
It was
these?
a lot cheaper, I'm sure. And I'm talking off the cuff right now, but I'm sure it's doubled in my career.
So people in 17 years who are having their sidewalks redone are going to be paying a lot more.
I'm sure they are.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Let's see. Any further questions? You could also, during call to the audience, bring up a question about the sidewalks if you would like to. You can always contact city council members with questions. There's some disagreement, but we are investigating authorizing our city attorney will be looking into these questions that are in the chat that can't be answered right now. Moving on.
Madam Mayor, can I just finalize with saying,
Yes, please.
Thank you all for the time to give this presentation. I'm sure there's more questions out there, and please be advised and advise all the residents that we are not put out in any way to come out and meet with them. I'm more than happy to meet with them one-on-one, explain and answer any questions they have.
Only answered 2 questions.
I might not always be able to provide them the answer that they want to hear, but I will take the time and answer their questions directly and honestly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Skipping down to item 10, accounting reports. Need a motion approving payment of invoices submitted by Garen Lookow Miller for legal services in the total amount of $13,992.07. Please, could I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. That's Burns. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Edgar. We keep our attorneys extremely busy. I'm amazed at the number of things that they're keeping in the air for us, and we appreciate. Are there any comments or questions about the bill? A roll call vote, please.
Yes, but can you unblock me, please? You got my.
We're going to have question time for the audience at item 15 at the end, and you can please save your questions. We will hear from you at the end. Call for the audience is item 15 at this point. So we're on a roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Is Councilmember Radner here? Councilmember Whitehead.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you. The next item, we have ordinances, item 12. First reading of an ordinance to amend section 2-608 of chapter 2, article 5, division 1, Recycling and Environmental Conservation Commission of the Code of Ordinances, City of Oak Park, whereby the commission shall hold their meetings once a month. This commission had been meeting every other month, and we've got some fireballs in this group now, and they would like to meet more often and get some stuff done. So we're very proud of them for doing this and appreciate it very much. Is there a motion to approve the first reading?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Councilmember Edgar, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Burns. Any discussion? It's just changing the ordinance so that they can meet more often. Okay. City Clerk Ed Norris, can you do a roll call?
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner. Give another chance. Okay. Councilmember Whitehead
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. There's comments for the city attorney, but I think that will be coming in the next meeting with the report on the billing of the sidewalks.
That's right.
City Manager Eric Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. 14A is a local emergency order. And council members, this is a order that, and by the way, Madam City Attorney, I don't know if the legislature has changed this at all.
There's been no update since my report to everyone last week, but tomorrow they may be considering the other Open Meetings Act legislation. So you may get an email update, but nothing to date.
So your recommendation would be for us to proceed anyway, right?
I would.
Okay, so 14A is a local emergency order, council members, which allows us essentially to continue to meet virtually through May 31st. The reason that this is necessary is because the state order expires on March 31st. So based on what the city attorney just said, this may be null and void, but we don't know that yet. So I would ask for your support of this local declaration, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so we need a vote, correct?
Yes.
So we need a vote to call this local emergency order, allowing us to continue to meet virtually while people are getting their COVID shots and life is safer. So I think we would all feel much more comfortable continuing virtually. Is there a motion to approve this emergency order?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Edgar. Is there discussion? I think Zoom has been a gift to us. They did in 100 years ago when it was so dangerous to meet, but we're blessed and we are taking advantage of the blessing. So roll call, please.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you.
And 14B, Director Steve Cooper.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, and City Manager Tungate. Before you have a council agenda item regarding National Police Week and the flying of the thin blue line flag. The National Police Memorial Day was proclaimed in 1962 by President J.F. Kennedy to be May 15th of each year. And Police Week was proclaimed to be the calendar week, which contains May 15th. This year, that week is Sunday. Oops, dark here. Sorry about that. This week, it's Sunday, May 9th through Saturday, May 15th. And I'm coming before council requesting that the city council approve the flying of the thin blue line flag at City Hall on behalf of the Oak Park Police Officers Association of Michigan from Sunday, May 9th through Saturday, May the 15th. The thin blue line flag is a 3-foot by 5-foot nylon flag with 2 black bars and 1 small blue bar in the middle. The thin blue line flag represents the honorable sacrifices made daily by the law enforcement officers across this great nation. And this request complies with all the administrative guidelines that's set forth by the city manager and city council.
We need a motion to approve flying the thin blue line flag the week of May 9th to 15th.
So moved.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Burns, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember White. Our Oak Park Public Safety Department is phenomenal. And during COVID, they are the ones that come to your house when you have to go to the hospital with COVID. And they are the ones helping first. So even more than usual, we are grateful to our officers and their sacrifice. I know I was talking to one of the officers who did get sick, and he said it's the young man. He said it was the sickest he's been in his life. Don't mess with COVID. Anyway, is there a discussion? Let's see. I don't think we need a roll call. All those in favor of flying the flag, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous support for our Public Safety Department and all they do for us.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything else that we should, you're going to let us know if there's usually an event to go to, probably won't be held in person this year, but you'll let us know about any way that we can support police in Michigan generally.
I will. Like I said, like you said so eloquently, Mayor, we appreciate all all the support that we get on a day in and day out basis. And yes, because of the pandemic, a lot of in-person memorials have gone virtual or they've been postponed. So if indeed we do get something that's either in person or virtual, I'll make sure to spread the word. And thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Okay, 14C, Assistant City Manager Kevin Yee, please.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone again. Attached is a request from Commercial Ground Services, the contractor for the 2020 landscape maintenance project M708, to perform the 2021 landscape maintenance project M720. Commercial Ground Services has indicated they would extend their unit prices to perform this year's project. The total project cost using the 2020 bid prices is $66,640. This includes proposed cost to maintain the 9 Mile Road trailhead and all the new landscaping along 9 Mile Road that was done this past year. The previous contractual obligation for 9 Mile has expired with the maintenance of the maintenance bond for the project, and we are adding this to the project. There is $70,000 budgeted, and the general fund and major street fund for this expenditure. It is recommended that City Council approve the offer for the contract extension from Commercial Ground Services for the 2021 landscape maintenance project M720 for the total amount of $66,640. Funding is available in the general fund and major street fund for this expenditure.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the contract extension, and then we can ask some questions.
So moved.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Burns, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilmember Edgar. What happened to 9 Mile last year?
It was maintained by the contractor who installed it. There was a maintenance part of the project that they maintained it.
I see. Okay. So this year it's on us.
Correct.
Have we used Commercial Ground Services in the past?
They did our project this past year. They maintained City Hall and the 9 Mile and Coolidge intersection primarily, and we thought they did a really nice job.
And it's hard to get people Labor and supplies are all up, is my understanding.
Yes, we've had trouble with some other contracts in the past, but this company did a nice job for us, and we'd like them to continue.
Okay. So any further questions? A roll call, please.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes. Motion carried.
Okay, council members, before we get to 14D, I have asked our city assessor, Aaron Powers, to join us and give us a really brief 3-slide presentation on the Board of Review process. There he is.
Good morning, Madam Mayor. Good morning, good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. I'm Aaron Powers, the city assessor, and I've just got a few slides to go over regarding the March Board of Review. And if Crystal can bring those up. And while we're waiting for those slides to come up, as Manager Tungate indicated, this is the month of March, which is when the March Board of Review has the opportunity to hear assessment appeals in the city of Oak Park. And while we're waiting for those slides to come up, Mayor, I'll just share this with you again, but Oak Park is #1 yet again. And maybe this is something that isn't always shared with the mayor and council, but what I mean by #1 again is that residential property values are the fastest growing in the city of Oak Park out of the entirety of Oakland County. So not only for 2021, but also for 2020, and I believe 2019, the city of Oak Park's residential property values have outpaced every other jurisdiction in Oakland County as far as continued growth. So it's
We are the place to be.
We are the place to be, absolutely. Out of everywhere in the county, Oak Park has the fastest growing residential property growth as measured by the Oakland County Equalization Department. And I'm very proud of that fact. And I think it's a great statistic to share. I'm getting into the Board of Review, however. The Board of Review is governed under the Michigan Property Tax Act, and it meets 3 times. Of course, it meets in March, in July, and in December. July and December are primarily for corrections and to also review those exemptions that the Board of Review has authority over. In March is primarily the opportunity to hear valuation appeals and additionally those exemptions. So far this month, the Board of Review has met on March 8th and on March 9th. But if folks are still interested in talking with the board, they still have an opportunity. According to our city charter, we have to meet on the 4th Monday in March, which will be this upcoming March 22nd. And we'll be meeting from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. And if folks have a question about their assessment, they can certainly call our office and we'll be able to happily answer any questions that they may have. And if they feel that they want to schedule an appointment to see the board, we can accommodate that as well. And they can call 248-691-7550 to be able to do so. We have 2 3-panel members of the Board of Review, which are individuals in the community, and they are appointed by City Council. And we have a few new members this year, which I'd be very happy to report are doing a fantastic job. If we can move on to the next slide. So primarily, there are 3 focuses that the board undertakes, which is, of course, valuation appeals. And the March Board of Review hears valuation appeals for the current year only. And it's really value that the Board of Review has the opportunity to review and not necessarily the amount of taxes that are paid. So the Board of Review has the opportunity and the authority to be able to review what the properties are assessed at. And you can have 2 identically assessed properties, but because the way that our tax laws work in Michigan, they can have wildly different tax liabilities. Additionally, the 2 exemptions that the Board of Review has authority over is the veterans exemption, and that's a 100% exemption from property taxes for those individuals who are 100% disabled from a service-related disability or that they are individually unemployable as determined by the Veterans Administration. And lastly, the last exemption the board review has authority to review is for poverty exemptions. Now, I was with the city council a few weeks back discussing some of the new legislative changes as it relates to that. And those applicants have to qualify for that hardship or poverty policy as determined by the State Tax Commission as well as City Council. Move on to slide 3. So for valuation appeals, at that point, valuation appeals are an opportunity for individuals to be able to bring in information that supports a contention of value that may be differently than what we have determined. Really helpful items for them to bring in for board consideration includes comparable sales of similar properties, photos, and additional information that's primarily in support of value. Commercial industrial property owners can appeal directly to the Michigan Tax Tribunal without first appearing at the Board of Review. However, all residential properties have to first appeal at the local Board of Review before they have standing in any other appeal structure. And all decisions that the Board of Review hears can be further appealed to the Michigan Tax Tribunal and to the other courts within the state of Michigan. It's a real brief kind of synopsis of what we do here in March, and I welcome any questions that you or the council may have.
Okay, we can hear council questions now, and perhaps a call to the audience. There might be some questions from residents. Any questions from the council? I'm glad that the members are doing so well for you, and it's a very competently run department with a heart. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. 14D, we have Director Crawford with us this evening. Hi, Sandra.
Hi, good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Burns, City Council, and City Manager Tungate. Item 14D before you, the Deputy Treasurer is submitting a list of properties that have outstanding charges for miscellaneous concrete replacement, property blight, sidewalk replacement, delinquent utilities, and false alarms, and is requesting that the City Assessor be authorized and directed to prepare the special assessment rolls, assessing unpaid charges together with a penalty of 10% to the real property tax roll. The recommended action is to adopt the attached resolution authorizing and directing the City Assessor to prepare a special assessment roll.
We need a motion to adopt the assessment rolls.
So moved.
That's Mayor Pro Tem Burns. And second? Don't be shy. We have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilmember Whitehead, thank you. These can be questioned. Is that correct, City Manager Tungate?
I'm going to defer that to Director Crawford.
Once we, right now we're asking to make them a special assessment. And then once my next presentment to the council is 14E in making them a special assessment. Once they become a special assessment, then we will send out and have we'll notify all the parcels involved, and then we'll have a public hearing. And then at that time, the taxpayers, property owners can come via Zoom and petition to have it investigated. And then we would temporarily remove them from the roll while it's being investigated.
It's my understanding that they could call and email a question in, drop something in the Dropbox, or speak at the Zoom meeting. Is that correct?
And Ed, is that our results? I'm going to defer to the city clerk on that one. I believe those are the methods.
Those are, that's correct, Mayor.
Okay. So what is the number that somebody would call if they had a disagreement about something that they receive? 69174.
Well, for each one, it would be the different departments, because as you can see, we've got our finance treasury department, we have technical planning, and we also have public safety for the various delinquent outstanding invoices. So for delinquent utilities, which is the water department, they would call our department, which is 691-7470. And then for miscellaneous concrete replacement, property blight, and sidewalk replacement is probably Director Barrett's department. Director Barrett, what is your extension?
717-580.
Yes.
Okay, and then false alarms would be the records division in public safety. Director Cooper?
That would be actually Ted Kozlowski, 7527, 691-7527.
Okay, and usually on the day of the hearing, Director Barrett has a table in the hall and people can, without speaking publicly, if they don't want to, they can handle it that night. Is there some way to do it on Zoom like that?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
let me just say, this is just authorizing the administration to create the roles. So
Right.
we're not even at that part of the process yet.
Right. Okay, so April 5th is going to be when, that's our next meeting, correct?
Correct.
So I'm just trying to, if they don't want to speak in front of everybody on April 5th, is there going to be a way that they could put it in the chat perhaps?
I guess if I may say, I mean, they probably could do that, but I think too, from what I'm understanding with the city attorney is that tomorrow is kind of going to be a day determining if we would have possibly a in-person and maybe a Zoom meeting. And I would think that if we're not just 100% Zoom, then we could have someone here if we're back open, correct, city manager, or maybe on appointment basis?
I mean, well, if we won't be open for those meetings, regardless of what the state does, because our emergency order allows us to have virtual meetings now through May 31st. So, Mayor, I think the other important point to make is, we accept written correspondence, electronic correspondence, I believe phone calls, if I'm not mistaken. So there really is no reason why someone couldn't communicate with the city clerk's office to, express their distaste in the special assessment. So, creating the roles is the first step. Then we get into the public portion of the process.
Right. Thank you. Everything is more fun with Zoom. Okay. Do we have a motion to receive the roles and establish April 5th as the date for the public hearing?
I didn't read that one yet.
Okay, sure.
Do you want to do them separate or we do them all together? Because I just read D.
The first one. So do we have a vote on the first one? I got lost in the questions and answers.
We do not have a vote yet. We're ready
Okay.
to vote.
Can we have a vote for authorizing the assessor to prepare the special assessment rolls? Assessing unpaid charges and a 10% penalty for delinquent utilities, false alarms, concrete replacement, blight, sidewalk replacement.
So moved.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Burns, thank you. In a second.
We have a second already. What?
Thank you, Councilmember Whitehead. Any discussion or questions? The utilities was shockingly high this time. City Manager Tungate, can you speak to that at all?
I can. I mean, this gets back to the governor's orders. We were not allowed to follow our normal process during COVID. So water shutoffs were not occurring, and a lot of tenant landlord situations, the bills were ran up in some situations. So that is a direct reflection of the pandemic and what has occurred.
Got it. Thank you. Any other questions or before we vote? A roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item 14E is now asking that the role that you just, the penalties that you just received, that we authorize the city assessor to adopt the special assessment resolution number 8, which is attached, and receiving the special assessment roll number 690, which is for delinquent utilities. And then for special assessment roll 691, which is the unpaid false alarm. And then special assessment roll number 692 for the unpaid miscellaneous concrete. Special assessment roll 693, which is the unpaid property blight. And special assessment roll number 694 for the unpaid sidewalk replacement. And establishing April 5th, 2021 as the date for the public hearing on the rolls of the unpaid charges for expenses incurred on private properties.
So we need to adopt this resolution receiving the rolls.
That is correct.
And please.
So moved. Second.
Seconded.
Mayor Pro Tem and Edgar second. Thank you. Discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, 14F, Director Ricardo Singson is here.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, City Manager, what I have before you for agenda item 14F is a proposal for professional services for the LED signboard replacement on the monument sign at Coolidge and Oak Park Boulevard. Due to the inoperable status of the existing LED signboard at the City Complex Monument sign, a request for repair and replacement was made to 4 individual vendors. 2 of those vendors had responded with competitive quotes. Upon review of those 2, Metro Signs and Lighting is the preferred vendor of both our administrative staff, which included our Director of Facilities, Dave DeCoster, and the local area representative for the manufacturing firm for those signs, which is Daktronics. The total price for this project is $24,850, and a budgeted amount of $25,000 is in the 2020-2021 communications budget account. So the recommended action is that City Council approve the professional services proposal from Metro Signs and Lighting of Warren, Michigan to install new LED signboards in the monument sign.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Burns. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitehead. Director Singson, when the city was built, we put up that monument sign, and your predecessor apparently selected a vendor that then went out of business. So it lasted 6 years, if that, maybe 5.
Yes, just about.
What's the lifespan expected from these things?
According to Daktronics, so they're the company that does the majority of signage in Metro Detroit and the nation. They do our sign on 9 and Coolidge. They look for a life cycle of about 7 to 9 years before there's some type of maintenance. with the current LED technology, they're hoping to stretch that out, but a lot of it's based on the severity of our winters, the severity of the heat in our summers, et cetera. But they're expecting using the technology that they have in our existing sign, that we shouldn't have the problems with the unsupported technology that was implemented.
And there is somebody who can do the maintenance, and there is a place to order the parts. We're coming off a really bad experience with the previous vendor, so please make us feel comfortable.
Correct. Yeah, we've chosen to go the mainstream route of a company that provides signage to Little Caesars Arena and TCF Center and things of that nature. The same signage company that does our elevated pedestal on 9 and Coolidge, which we haven't had problems with. So
They are replacing that, right?
we're replacing the one on Oak Park Boulevard in Coolidge. That's the one that's not functional.
Okay. But 9 and Coolidge is still fine.
Correct.
Other questions, please?
Madam Mayor, I do have a question.
Yes, Councilmember Edgar.
So the signage at the corner of Coolidge and 9, was that put up by the same company that has since gone out of business?
I don't know the origin of that. Those signs, someone might have to weigh in.
That was there first. That was there before we did the building and we put up this monument sign. The vendor must have been some fly by night or something, because they're out of business and there's no parts, and it was kind of a nightmare where there was nobody to fix it. Who does the maintenance on the sign?
On the newest, on the one that's functioning, or the one that
on the one that we're planning, the LED sign.
The one that we're planning is going to be Metro Signs and Lighting. They've been around for quite some time, but additionally, the actual manufacturer, Daktronics, is, again, they're not a fly-by-night company. They're been around for a while. So
right.
I have a question.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yeah, so I think what I really wanted to know is if the sign needs any type of replacement or maintenance before the expected lifetime is over. Will this new company repair it and not charge us for it? Is that covered in our current at $24,850 cost?
I would have to look at their terms and conditions.
I think it's 1 year.
Yeah, I think it's
free.
Yeah, 1 year on the installation, and then the parts will probably be based on Daktronics, whatever those individual parts might be. Usually the LED boards themselves carry a very long warranty, because there isn't any moving parts to them, but the computers that are contained within them generally would be probably the first to go. The technology that they're using for this particular location isn't reliant on our facility like the other two signs. The technology they use for the signs nowadays actually have a cell phone card within them that communicates back. So when our communications department needs to update, they're done wirelessly. So we don't have all of the different moving parts and points of failure that we have with the current sign that's there now. It's probably about 4 or 5 steps.
Quickly and easily changed, which is
updated, correct.
The whole function of the sign, when you think about it.
I'm just wondering if we have an extremely harsh winter this year, and there is some damage that occurs to the sign because of the weather or the harsh conditions, will the city be responsible for the repair?
Mm-hmm.
I would assume, based on if it doesn't fall within their guidelines of what, normal wear and tear. I mean, it's going to be like any other type of digital signage. We don't obviously anticipate this to break within the first year, 2 years, 3 years, if they're determining the life cycle to generally be 8 years. I can't, speak to say that might not happen earlier or it may not happen later. But I think it's going to be something we'll have to keep an eye on in terms of its functionality over the course of the seasons.
Thank you.
That cell card is going to let it be simple to change the sign.
Correct. It can be updated remotely from a tablet and the right credentials.
Wow. Just like it's supposed to be, huh?
Correct.
That's, golly, yeah. Yeah. So we had the worst of the worlds, and now we hopefully will have the best. Are there any further questions before we vote? Roll call, please.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitehead,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you, Ricardo. Before I go to 14G, I would like to follow up on something from the last meeting. Assistant City Manager Yee had looked into, I think Mayor Pro Tem Burns had asked the question how much we had paid in maintenance for the pool in the last, I think it was 7 years or so. And I wanted to follow up with that information.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, we had looked into, Dave DeCoster and I had looked into what we had paid for maintenance for the pool and the locker room bathhouse facility. And over the last 7 years, it was about $175,000. That includes approximately $10,000 annually to open and close the pool. And then we had a bunch of different miscellaneous and repairs and costs. We've painted the bathhouse, interior of the bathhouse area there. We've done a lot of different plumbing and electrical work and a lot of different repairs to the pool as well. So the total was about $175,000, keeping in mind that we spent very little last year just because we weren't open. But overall, it was about $175,000, over a 6-year period, really, if you take out last year.
Thank you very much. I was thinking it would be way higher than that, but I'm glad it's not. So thank you.
Right. And that's why we were due we're still due for some repairs to that pool if we're going to keep it up and operational. Pools are expensive and they're a lot to maintain. So I did want to report back. That's where we're at.
Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager Yee. 14G, Director Jocelyn Davis, please.
Thank you, City Manager Tungate, and good evening, Mayor McClellan and Mayor Pro Tem and members of City Council. I have the pleasure of bringing some fantastic news tonight about vaccinations in Oak Park. But first, I'd just like to make sort of a personal statement. I just wanted to say thank you to City Manager Tungate for being relentlessly proactive, making sure that we brought vaccines to Oak Park. We've, of course, had some delays like the rest of the state in getting vaccines, and he's been extremely worried. His whole staff knows how worried he's been about getting the city vaccinated, not just the employees, but our residents too. And I just want to thank him for doing this because he really worked hard to make this happen. I don't know if I'm out of turn. Would you like to say something, City Manager?
No, thank you for saying that. I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
This is a huge deal. So we are actually in a wonderful partnership with Henry Ford Health System, thanks to a conversation between the city manager and one of our Oak Park residents, Janae Scott, who actually works with Henry Ford Health System. And they talked with each other about bringing vaccines to Oak Park, and now we have them. So what is happening is every Wednesday, and at this point it's indefinite as to when this will end, Henry Ford Health System has brought medical professionals into the community center in Oak Park to give vaccines based on qualifications set by the state. So at this point, we're at the point where we are vaccinating Oak Park residents who are 65 and older in age and have either health issues or no health issues, but also residents who are 50 plus, between 50 and 64, who have health issues. I believe the governor has also mentioned that we have a timeline now that says by the 22nd, we're going to be vaccinating residents 50 plus with or without health issues. And actually by April 5th, we'll be vaccinating ages 16 plus. So we're really moving along quite quickly. In order for anyone to register for this, there are a few ways to do that. We have a Facebook post that's on the city's Facebook page that actually has a link to the form, the online form that must be filled out by residents who would like to be vaccinated. You then go into, it goes directly to Henry Ford, and they're categorizing, people who are filling out the application based on qualification. And if you're qualified, they then either give you a call or an email so you can set up your time on the date. Remember, it's always going to be on a Wednesday so far. So that's where we are at this point. We are doing vaccinations this Wednesday. And I believe those slots are filling up pretty quickly. I'm understanding the numbers keep going up each Wednesday that this is done, and Henry Ford is very pleased, and of course, so are we. It's really wonderful. So the other way to register is to go on to the website for Oak Park, and that's www.oakparkmi.gov. If you go to our main page and scroll down to the middle, there's actually a little blurb there with a big picture of Henry Ford's logo and the city's logo to show our partnership, and there's a link right there that you can click on. We also have a couple of other things around that, the vaccination site. If you are a senior, if you are 50 plus, or you have disabilities, you're able to call the recreation department to arrange for a ride through our smart bus system if you don't have a ride to get to your vaccination appointment. That number to call is 248-691-7555. Now, that's not for questions that are medical related. This is our recreation department. They're only helping you with getting transportation back and forth. If you have any questions that are health related about the vaccine, please consult your personal physician. That's what we have right now. Henry Ford Health System is a little overwhelmed and can't take calls specifically about that. They're putting a lot of effort into making sure they have this center all together. Yes, City Manager Tungi.
Jocelyn, I just wanted to just say, to the people at Henry Ford Health System, and of course, our own resident, Janae Scott, what an exceptional partnership. And thank you so much. It's a godsend. It truly is. And I can say on behalf of everybody who works at the City of Oak Park, it's really one of the best feelings in the world to be able to work with them and provide the vaccines at our own community center. Hopefully it's just one more thing that we can do to get through this. But I wanted to mention that. Henry Ford, thank you so much.
Yes.
And I'd like to thank Eric Tungate for, as it was said, being relentlessly proactive. I think he has one ulcer just due to delays in getting the staff vaccinated.
I'm sure of it. Okay, moving along here, we also have a few other announcements. There's a great program coming to the Oak Park Library on March the 24th at 6:30 p.m. It's called British History Talk with Edward Bottomley. Edward Bottomley was born in London and spent time growing up in Tokyo, and he now lives in Milford, Michigan with his wife, 5 kids, and 3 pets, which he says is 3,300 miles away from his favorite island in the North Sea. That would be England. And he is an adjunct professor in British history. He's going to be coming to do a talk. If you're interested in taking part in that Zoom call, it's a virtual presentation, please call the library at 248-691-7480. You can also send an email to library@oakparkmi.gov to show your interest. And when you do that, you'll receive registration link so that you'll have your Zoom link. That's going to be happening on the 24th. Also, Ask the Attorney is coming up. This is our 3rd round of Ask the Attorney, and it seems to be very popular. This time we will have attorney Brenda Richards. So if you are interested, please call to register because space is limited. Again, that's the library at 248-691-7480. Also know that any phone number that I talk about tonight, you can also find on the website, just looking under that department. The library has a video mystery series that it will be starting the week of March 22nd. It is pretty cool. It is called, please forgive me here, it's got a really cool name. I think it's called Something in the Stacks, Mystery in the Stacks. And in this program, they're going to be doing video stories every day starting March 22nd for that entire week, telling a mystery story about something that happens in the library. It's going to be fun. And you'll find that on Facebook, the library's Facebook page. Recreation has a lot going on. One big thing I'd like to announce is the Shamrock Shenanigans scavenger hunt was a huge hit again. This has turned out to be fantastic for us, that families are really enjoying these scavenger hunts that we're doing on weekends. So this past weekend on the 13th, we have a first place winner. That would be the White House family. The White House family has won Henry Ford Greenfield Village 2021 family membership. Our 2nd through 5th place winners are the Caporal family, the Rettich family, the Merck family, and the Ross family. And they have won Oakland County Parks Family Fun Passbooks. This is fantastic. So thanks also to our participating businesses that actually showed the shamrocks in the window. That would be our Shears Ace Hardware, Star Bakery, Oak Park Social, new restaurant we have in the 11-mile corridor, and BookBeat, and Dunkin' Donuts Baskin Robbins. So thank you so much to those partners. Senior Drive-In Bingo is happening on March the 22nd, again from 11:30 to 12:30. That is also another major hit with our seniors, where they can, from the safety of their car, play bingo. So if you have any questions about that, please do call the Recreation Department at 248-691-7555. The Train Your Brain program that so many people participated in concluded with over 40 seniors participating. We just want to thank our partner in that, Humana, and also SMART, our bus system, and our volunteer, Jean Jones. Wanted to shout her out. She was very helpful. Smart Transportation is still open again for our residents age 50 plus and anyone who's disabled. We have new hours for driving between 8:30 and 4. Don't hesitate to give a call over to the recreation office if you need rides to places like doctor's appointments, to get groceries. There's a number of other places that will go. Again, that number is 248-691-7555. Virtual Trivia Night is back. We are going to be doing that, $5 per team per night. You call to get your Zoom, you register to get your Zoom identification so you can sign into that. Again, at the Recreation Department, they're doing Game of Thrones night on April 1st, Trivia Night, The Simpsons on April 15th. On the 22nd of April, it's Saved by the Bell. And it'll be Toys and Games, which is Family Night on Thursday, April the 29th. If you're interested in registering, again, it's 248-691-7555. Teen Council is still up and running, and there's a good following for that. The next meeting for teens will be on Zoom on April the 28th at 4 p.m. Again, call the Recreation Office if you're interested in getting the Zoom link for that one. Here's some new things happening. Karate registration is starting now with Recreation Department through May the 3rd. We've got the beginner class that runs from May 11th to June 29th on a Tuesday evening. Residents pay $55 and non-residents $60, and that's for ages 4 to 10. How cute is that? It's outdoors, or if weather's bad, it'll be inside the community center in room A. We also have an advanced class running around that same time, except it ends July 1st. It's also on a Tuesday and Thursday, happens twice a week. That's for ages 8 plus. It'll also be outdoors or inside if weather is bad. Youth baseball, and I love this because now we're talking about more outdoor activities. Oh, thank goodness. That will begin soon, and registration is going on now until May the 1st. Quad City Alliance Youth Co-ed Baseball, it's a league, starts June 7th through July 23rd. We have T-ball, coach pitch T-ball, pony, minor, and major league, and they range from ages 5 all the way up to age 14. So please, again, give a call to the Recreation Office if you want more information about that at 248-691-7555. Now for our folks who are more technically savvy, we have a couple of things. We've got Virtual Rocket League, which is cross-platform. That's for ages 10 through 17. There's a $10 fee, and it starts May the 8th through June 5th. It's not too early to call about that. Also, Virtual NBA 2K21 and Madden NFL 21 leagues, playing with Xbox One, PlayStation 4. This is for adults, running May 3rd through June the 2nd, and then youth, ages 13 through 17, May 8th through June the 5th. It's $20 per person. There is a max, so again, give a call. Two more items here. Forgotten Harvest, please don't forget that wonderful partner still comes to our parking lot at the community center on Wednesday mornings from 9 to noon to distribute a drive-through food pantry. It's really wonderful. I want to also point out that Forgotten Harvest is looking for volunteers to help with that process. They are looking for volunteers to help distribute. It's all contactless, meaning that the boxes are already made up. They just need people to help them put the boxes into trunks. So if you're interested in that, please contact Forgotten Harvest. I believe if you go to their website, /volunteer, you'll be able to learn more about that, forgottenharvest.org, /volunteer. Also, a couple of other reminders here. I want to remind people there is an Imagine campaign happening right now. There's an Imagine campaign happening. So we did took this wonderful phase 1 of building out the 9-mile redesign project. And everyone can see the fruits of that right now. We have a nice small mini parks. We've got a great trailhead for bikers and hikers. We have beautiful fencing and beautiful sidewalks, and it looks really lovely. The road diet, when we say road diet, we mean we took the road and we now have bike lanes and we have angled parking and all that good stuff. Now comes the fun part. So phase 2 of this project is that we're going to build out a park, a linear park. It's going to have playscapes in it. We're talking about seating for walkers and for seniors. The playscapes have all kinds of educational big gym toys in them. We're going to have public art. It's just beautiful. There's one catch, and that is it is a fundraiser to make this happen. We have a great relationship, another great partnership with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, or the MEDC. They are going to do a dollar match for us up to $50,000. That means that as we give toward this campaign, they will match every dollar up to $50,000, meaning we could raise $100,000 to make this happen. So it doesn't matter how big or how small your donation is, we are really looking for those donations. So a couple of things. There's a Facebook post that you can go to on the city's webpage that has a link to where you can give a donation. You can also go to the main page of our website at www.oakparkmi.gov, and there will be the link there. But any dollar amount will help us make this dream happen. It's going to be spectacular. And here is my last thing. My last announcement is just a reminder about protocol for meetings. So this city council meeting is a public meeting. They will always be public meetings, but there is a protocol to them, which means that this is not actually a conversation. We're not back and forth until the very end. And even at the end, it's not back and forth. This is where we are all participating in the meeting as viewers, and council is having a meeting. So there's no conversation. There's no, you're not able to actually ask questions in the chat, things like that, and have them answered. That's not actually protocol for a meeting. It's not protocol. There will be a time at the end of this meeting, almost coming up now, where we will have public comment and you can ask your questions there. But please also understand that also protocol, those questions may not be answered at the time of the meeting. Sometimes what will happen is you will be referred to a director to call in a department, and we won't be able to discuss it. Just wanted to put that out there to make sure everyone is clear on the protocols for meetings. Other than that, thank you so much, Mayor McClellan, members of council, and City Manager Tungate, and have a good evening.
Fantastic.
Okay, Madam Mayor, members of council, that completes the city manager report for this evening. Thank you.
Nice. Nice to have good news. And then Deputy Director Vecchio, it is called to the audience. Everybody gets 3 minutes. There were a couple of questions that came up that people might want to ask at this point.
Yes. So if anyone is interested in speaking during this time, the way to do so would be in your participants list, there is a button to click that says raise hand. Please do so, and we will call on you as your hands are raised in order to allow you to speak. I see first I have the Studemeyer family is the name. You can go ahead and speak.
This is directed to Robert Bennett, the Director of Technical Planning. This is regarding to the sidewalk replacement. My question is, if you request for a re-examination or re-inspection, when the inspector comes out, can he make any changes to that original inspection, or is he going to just kind of dance around and leave everything like it is and just leave it in concrete, kind of an oxymoron? But can he make any corrections to the original inspection that was made on the concrete?
Thank you, and we will have Director Barrett. I wonder if you would speak to what happens when you go out to reassess it. It's not an automatic stamped in concrete going to be the same thing. You use judgment, correct?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. To answer the question is we're going out there specifically as it's stated as a re-inspection. There's really won't be dancing around any criteria. What we're going to do is we're going to re-examine the initial inspection, make sure everything was marked correctly. Our inspectors are awesome. They typically don't have too many changes, but sometimes they do make a mistake. And there might be some sidewalk that's marked for replacement that doesn't meet our criteria. And not to be meant as any type of threatening way at all, but sometimes they didn't mark enough and we might need to add some sidewalk. But what we are actually doing is meeting with you to do a re-inspection to see what determines if all the sidewalk mark is meeting the criteria for replacement and to answer any questions that you may have.
I would recommend that you contact the department and take advantage of that service. Any further audience comments?
I have Sharon Landau. Go ahead and speak.
Good evening. I'm Sharon Landau Levine. And I'm very, very upset about a situation. I know that Holloway Days are scheduled for March 31st to April 7th for the entire city. I was notified that though for the Jewish community, Holloway Days has an added week because of Passover. I was told it was to get rid of, before Passover, we get rid of things in our kitchen, food and stuff like that. We have garbage day in front of our house, both Thursday and Friday in Oak Park. Our holiday begins Saturday evening at sunset. Although for the observant community, our Sabbath begins Friday night, and at that point, we wouldn't be doing anything beyond. This was not made public to the community. It is not made public even to the entire Jewish community. But I can't understand why the city would have a service like this only for a portion of the city and not publicize it to the entire city. Now, I understand that there was concern that contractors might drop stuff off there. My understanding is Holloway Days is not for contractors, whether it's 1 week or 2 weeks. So that's really not an issue. And I do understand they're only going to get one dumpster for this added week, of which during that whole week, the 7 days, 3 of the days, the religious part of the Jewish community couldn't even use it. So that's paying for 7 days out of everybody's tax dollars for 4 days. And most people that are getting their house ready for Passover are not going through their garage and shed at that point to throw away things. And I understand the dumpster is not supposed to be used for food, although that was not what I was told. I was told it was to get rid of what we call chametz, the food around our house that we would not eat during Passover. The following week, which is the week that it is scheduled and being publicized to the whole community, there's really only 2 days that we couldn't use it. One is our Sabbath anyways, and the other is Easter Sunday. I am just totally perplexed that this would be going on. It has not been publicized, first of all, to the whole Jewish community because our synagogues have not said anything to us. But more bothersome is we should not be doing Holloway Days 1 week for the Jewish community and then the other week for everybody. We all pay the same tax dollars. And if there was some sort of mistake with the date, then we should be publicizing it to everybody. Certainly we can indicate that we don't have as much space the first week, but again, if it's not for food, and then that needs to be made very clear because my understanding is people are going to use this for food. If they're not going to be emptying it for 2 weeks, we're looking at a rat situation too. I just want to know why we have a separate week, an added week. I realize that nobody had the Jewish calendar to look at or whatever, but We have garbage removal in front of our house, again, Thursday and Friday. And if it is city tax dollars paying for it on city property, it should be open to everybody and it should be equally publicized. It should not just be publicized to a portion of the community. We've had too much polarization in this country through these past few years. And I hate seeing this happen again. And I hate to have people say, well, it's given to you and that's not fair. Either for everybody or for nobody. And if we're going to have 2 weeks of it, then we need to publicize it. And I will be very happy to post it. So honestly, I can't believe that the city would do that. So please clarify if indeed you are going to have 2 weeks. And if you are 2 weeks, then let's publicize it. And like I said, I will be happy to be publicizing it on social media after this evening. Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Cheryl Weiss, you can go ahead and speak.
Thank you. I first would like to thank City Manager Tungate for his suggestion and his proposal to allow a year for payment at 0%, the sidewalk repair program. And I just had a few things to say also. As many of you know, I run the Oak Park Neighbors Facebook group. We have over 5,000 members. And I get private messages every day from residents. And I was very disappointed that we are doing the sidewalk program this year. I understand it was a year late because the pandemic, of course it was. We are still in a pandemic. You are meeting on Zoom because of the pandemic. City Hall is still closed because of the pandemic. The library is still closed because of the pandemic. There are people that have not worked in a year in this community. We still have a line on Wednesdays all the way to Coolidge, if not 10 Mile, for people that need food. When there were those couple weeks when Forgotten Harvest didn't come, people were very upset and didn't know how they were going to feed their children. And I sent them information about other places Forgotten Harvest and other food banks would be. People are struggling. You may not realize it, you may not see it, you may not understand it. I think it's difficult to understand sometimes when you do have the money that you need and the bills are paid. It's sometimes hard to remember what other people are going through. And sometimes in my life, I haven't had money. Sometimes I did. I'm fortunate that I have a pension. I'm doing okay, not great, but I'm doing okay. I don't have the money for everything I want, but I'm surviving. For me to get a bill for $695 due right away is not something I could pay. I have medical bills. And if my medical bills aren't paid, my doctors will not see me. And that's just one example. If someone has to choose between feeding their children and getting a sidewalk paid for, they're going to choose to feed their children. I think there could have been more sensitivity. It's been over 17 years. It could have been one more year. It really could have. It wouldn't have hurt to put it off one more year. There was a comment made tonight by Director Barrett. We want to have walkable sidewalks for everyone. Yes, we do. But we also want to have enough food for everyone. We want to have everyone to have homes that they can support, that they can take care of. We want everyone to recover from this pandemic once in a lifetime. And I do think a little more sensitivity would have been helpful. We all put our life on hold for a year in every way. Some people have not seen their parents or their children in a year. I haven't seen my grandmother in a year. I think there could have been more sensitivity put forth here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments and thank you for your service to the city in 100 ways.
I have Ms. Payne would like to speak. You can go ahead and speak at this time. Deshandra Payne, if you still wish to speak, you can go ahead at this time. I will move on to the next comment from Gloria.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear
Yep,
me?
we can hear you. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
My phone, sorry, my phone was on mute. I thought that I was connected to the computer volume system, but it was actually my phone because I dialed in. Thank you all so much for this opportunity to speak and ask questions and providing this platform for the residents of the city of Oak Park. I really appreciate it. My question is more so around the water bill and kind of the infrastructure, the sewage. Like, our water bill is enormously high, ridiculously high. And it seems like it's constantly going up. I don't know exactly why. And I would like maybe for someone, if they could, to provide a brief explanation or kind of explain a little bit about the water system, the sewage system, and how that's impacting a number of us in terms of the billing. Can someone speak to that?
Yes, we'll have someone talk about the lawsuit and the requirement to separate those charges and how it is impacting some of us to raise our bills. The city is not happy about the lawsuit. You do not gain anything by suing your own city. Only the lawyers get rich. We are following the directions that were required of us by the lawsuit by making that runoff a separate charge that was always part of the bill before. And it's impacting us terribly. But I think City Manager Tungate has done some research on comparing our water bills to other cities. City Manager Tungate, we come out in the middle of the local bills.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Ms. Payne, that's exactly right. I mean, we just put together a pretty comprehensive presentation not too long ago. And we don't have enough time now to go through all the details.
Football Keith. No, he don't matter.
Mr. Thompson, you need to mute.
Ms. Payne, but to the mayor's point, in the analysis that we did, and this was an apples to apples analysis that we did, the city of Oak Park is pretty much in the middle in terms of comparison of water and sewer rates in the communities around us. And really the rates have nothing to do with the lawsuit, although that is a part of the bigger picture. But one of the things that you have to keep in mind is to maintain our water and sewer system is a tremendous cost. And of course we want to maintain it and keep it in as good a shape as we possibly can on your behalf. One thing I would ask you to do though, if you could share your email or follow up with me directly. My email is etungate@oakparkmi.gov, or if you want to call me at 691-7410. I'd be happy to share that detailed presentation with you at a later point.
Yeah, I'll just send you an email. That'd be great. And I really do appreciate, again, the dialogue, and I would definitely appreciate the breakdown and the explanation behind it. I think there's quite a few of us, as Cheryl mentioned. I'm a part of the Oak Park page as well, the community Facebook page, and that is a question and that's a discussion that is constantly coming up. People are wondering about their water bills. People have questions, and there's a lot of uncertainty and unexplained costs that's associated with it. And it would just be nice to kind of have a little bit of context about that. So I will email you at a later time. I don't want to hold the conversation up. I want to be respectful of the 3-minute time frame. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, next I have Gloria. Go ahead and speak. Gloria.
Hello, can you? Yes, can you hear me?
Hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I have a 3-part question related to the sidewalk replacements. The first part of my question is, do we have the option of having the sidewalks raised as opposed to replaced? because I have several slabs. In fact, my total bill is $1,600. Several of my slabs are just slightly sunken in. And I was wondering if I have the option to have those raised as opposed to replaced. The second part of my question is, can I work directly with your contractor? Because I believe earlier in this meeting, someone mentioned that the city was just like the middle person. So my question is, can I just avoid you altogether and work directly with your contractor? And then the third and last part of my question is, who's getting that 6% interest? Whose pocket is that going into?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, City Manager.
Gloria, I want to thank you for all your great questions. I would ask that Director Barrett, if you could get her contact information and follow up with her at a later point, that would be great. I do want to say one thing though, and there may be others who ask questions about the sidewalk program. I want to clarify that we, by law, cannot charge for a profit. We are a government entity, so we cannot make money by law on our projects. Our costs, including the interest, are simply in place to offset our own administrative costs or whatever goes into it. So Director Barrett, could you follow up with Gloria and provide more detail, please?
Will do. Gloria, if you can just put your contact information in the chat, I'd appreciate it.
So none of my questions can be answered right now. Is that what you're saying? So that others can have the opportunity of listening?
We'll contact you. We'll contact you specifically, and you can share it. Put your email in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next, I have Crystal Bailey.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My question was basically the same as Gloria's. I had a question about the sidewalk as well. Now, and then about the inspection, like how overzealous is the inspector? Because outside of my property, it says that I have to have a repair as well, and I can't even see what is the need. So yeah, how was the inspection done? And then I'd like a phone call as well.
If you put your contact information in the chat, engineering will contact you, put in your phone email, and someone will come out to your house and talk to you about each of those slabs separately.
Thank you.
I do not see any other hands raised to speak, but I do have a message in the chat from Stephen Lauren, and he would like this to be read because he cannot speak. With the age of the city's infrastructure, mainly the sewer system, what is the city's plan to help the residents who have come out of pocket for the minimum cost of $10,000 to fix the lateral connection? We were the 6th or 7th house that I know of to have this done in the past year. Why has the city not come up with a plan to help? And I do not see anyone else with a hand raised or any other messages in the chat for comment.
And so I wonder if Stephen Lauren will add his contact information to the chat, and we will get back to him for sure. I know that I paid $10,000 to get mine done. It's not the part that the city, that's our responsibility. And some people get the insurance that I wish I would have gotten before I had to have it done. It's like the sidewalks. It's a part we pay for, in my understanding of it. But Stephen, if you would put your contact information in, somebody will get to you specifically. Thank you.
And it looks like we have one more hand raised. Stephanie, Ariano, go ahead and speak.
I would just ask that, yeah, folks take the responsibility on the city end to get people's information in for people who are technically challenged or whatever going forward, so that people don't have to share their information with everyone by accident. And that when we do get these questions answered, that we find a way to share that with everybody, like find out what the outcomes were so that we can all benefit from that information.
It looks like we do not have anyone else who wishes to speak during this.
For the Stephen thing, Cheryl Weiss said that you can get sewer line insurance and water line insurance, which is so worth it. And I would second that and third that because it is an expensive repair. And the insurance is quite inexpensive. Or it's not called insurance, it's sort of a maintenance agreement. Anyway, so there, Deputy Director Vecchio, there are no more comments from the audience.
I do not see any more comments at this time.
Appreciate your help. Thank you very much. We have call to the council. First, I always like to mention the story. It's Women's History Month this time. And I had a grandmother, obviously white middle-class family in the 1890s, who went to medical school with her sister Flora. And when they graduated medical school, they had to wait 20 years until 1920 until they got the vote. And Black women had to wait even longer. So celebrate the women in your life for Women's History Month. Mayor Pro Tem Burns. You're muted. You're muted right now. You need to unmute.
Okay, that's better. Sorry about that. I just wanted to thank everyone for participating tonight and asking the questions. I'm glad that we had a lot of questions tonight. That means our residents are interacting and keeping up with what's going on in the city. I also want to thank our department heads, particularly Jocelyn, Kevin Yee, and City Manager Tungate for all the hard work that you've done in the past on all of the great issues that we've mentioned tonight. Everyone be safe and take care.
Thank you. Councilmember Edgar.
Good evening, everyone. So glad to see such a big crowd tonight. It's good that people are interested. Part of me thinks we should just charge everybody more and just get the sidewalks done ourselves, because this always raises the ire of a lot of people. And I'm not sure which is worse, getting that bill for $2,000 or rolling it into our taxes. But anyway, a couple things. Sigmund Ziggy Glazer, he's a longtime resident. He lives in the southeast part of town. And for the last 30 or 40 years, he's been doing a cleanup. He does Service Drive, Rosewood, all the way up to, he does Rosewood and Roanoke around 9 Mile to the Service Drive. And this past Sunday, with the help of Shears Ace Hardware, which is on 9 Mile, he actually got a crew together, and they all cleaned up throughout the day and collected lots of bags that our city picked up today, which was great. And all it took was just a quick email, and our DPW said, of course, we'll help. Shears Ace Hardware has always helped, but they stepped up and they donated bags, grabbers, and vests. And the crew consisted of Zig Glazer, Jeff Bayer, Karen Yaldu, Conchetta Pellerito, Charlie Cavell, that's the commissioner who spoke earlier, former City Councilwoman Regina Weiss, Judy Firestone, Matt Kay, Dawn Holm Henry, Doug Gillespie, Lynn Colin, and Jeff Colin. As you can see, there's a picture of the crew right there. So it's a wonderful project, and I know the Recycling and Environmental Conservation Commission, of which I'm the council liaison, is talking about a citywide cleanup. We're going to try to plan something for the spring. Hopefully it'll be safe enough to go out. I think it will be. We would like to make this citywide. We want people to get into the habit of picking up. It goes a long way to making our city livable, raising the quality of life. So I'm so glad that our DPW got involved, and thank you, Dave DeCoster and Kevin Yee. Also want to thank City Manager Tungate for getting this vaccine program underway in our city. You know, he worked really hard to get this done, and then we had a resident who stepped up and said, I'll help you guys do it. And our seniors are able to go and get vaccinated. And can't say that for a lot of communities. Oak Park is unique, and sometimes you just got to push and push and push for these things to happen. And that's what City Manager Tungate did in this case. One more thing. Before I got on City Council, I asked the question, why can't residents who want to redo their concrete driveway sort of piggyback on some of the projects going on in the city, the concrete projects? And Director Rob Barrett mentioned a little earlier in the meeting that there's no guarantee, but maybe the contractor who's doing the sidewalk repairs would also do driveways if residents request. I don't know that it would be any cheaper, but it might be worth calling the engineering department and getting your name on a list. If the contractor is open to doing it, it probably would be less expensive because they're already hauling in concrete. I know I've got to redo my driveway. It's extremely expensive concrete. So if anyone's interested in getting on a list, the number for the engineering department is 691-7580. Anyway, thanks to all for showing up tonight.
Can you put that in the chat, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Last but not least, Sean Whitehead.
Just want to say it's daylight savings time yesterday, so everybody make sure you catch up on the sleep. And also it's reading month, so this is the second half of the month of March. So State Rep Weiss, I heard her mentioning Councilwoman Eggers, the cleanup discussion. There's a big book fundraiser, so if you have any books that you like to donate, please get in contact with State Rep Weiss and continue to read this month. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a long meeting. Thanks for hanging in there. There being no further business to come before this council, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all, and have a good spring.
Good night, everybody.
Night.